Well, happy Wednesday, everybody. I'm so excited. It's the first day of the brand new quarter. So I want to congratulate. By the way, this is Diane Covington. I want to congratulate each and every one of you that stretched, that ran to the finish, that crossed that finish line, absolutely got it done, shut it down, and you became a star consultant. Some of you may have reached for a higher star and were stretching to get there. Some of you maybe reached the star maybe for your very, very first time, or maybe you've been a consistent star forever. Regardless, I want to tell you how proud I am of you and how excited I am for you, and it is just the beginning. The momentum you have just started will continue to go. So I wanted to share with you a couple things. I don't know if you guys have done a lot of reading on like neuroscience and the way our brains work, but you do know when you hang around negative people, you tend to think negative. It's kind of almost like when you hang around people who cuss or swear, guess what you find yourself doing? Not everybody, but sometimes you'll slip a little bit more than before. If you hang around positive, upbeat, impactful people, your brain becomes powerful and impactful. And so I'm sure you all know that, right? So I want to talk to you today just a little bit about gratitude. And there's a bunch of really good articles, and I will actually post all these articles on our Facebook page, which is Quantum Leap. I believe it's Quantum Leap Hotline, which is our Facebook page. But there's a couple articles. One talks about actual scientific proven benefits of gratitude. So before I go through this with you, I want you to picture a teeter-totter, where when the teeter-totter, when you're sitting on the end that's up in the air, that's high, that means you are in gratitude. You are in positive thinking. You are having positive expectations. Everything is going to go great, right? On the other side is fear, anxiety, frustration, disappointment, overthinking things, worrying about stuff. So when fear is high, or anxiety is high, or stress is high, your gratitude and your faith are low, because you cannot have gratitude and faith be high and experience any of that stuff. Why is that? Because when you are in a mode of gratitude, your brain does different things. Now, I know some of you might be rolling your eyes and going, oh my goodness, Diane, are you kidding me? You can't tell me that gratitude, thinking like that, makes that big of a difference. But it does, and you can even sleep better. So one of the things the article says is stop feeling sorry for yourself. We are often told. And while it can be hard to avoid self-pity entirely, mentally strong people choose to exchange self-pity for gratitude. Whether you choose to write a few sentences in a gratitude journal or simply take a minute to silently acknowledge all that you have, giving thanks can transform your life. So there's a couple scientific proven benefits. So I'm going to share 7 of them with you really quick. Number 1, gratitude opens the door to more relationships. So not only by you saying thank you, which is just kind of basic good manners, right? It literally will have an impact when you meet somebody new for the first time and you have that attitude of gratitude. It absolutely comes across when you connect with people. So whether you thank a stranger for holding a door or you send a thank you note, it all has an impact. It also can improve your physical health. That's number 2. A lot of studies have been shown that talks about your body will produce less cortisol and less acid and just all that less negativity stuff when you are in gratitude. 3 is it talks about how it improves your psychological health. So it reduces a multiple of toxic emotions from envy, resentment, frustration, regret, comparison. And I hate to say that, but you know what, you guys, there's some of that in this company. People will see somebody else achieving something. Maybe you're not new. And at your virtual meeting the other night, the new girl stood up on Zoom, and or maybe you're at a studio or whatever, and she had a $600 week and you had a $300 week. And you're thinking, how could she sell that much? She's new. She doesn't even know what she's doing. There's a little frustration, maybe a little bit of envy, maybe just a little bit of how come that's happening to her and not to me, a little bit of self-doubt, or the comparison game. Well, if she can do that, how come I can't? And do you know when we do that, we compare our weaknesses to someone else's strengths. Never a good thing. So the 4th thing it does is gratitude enhances empathy and it reduces aggression. So grateful people are more likely to behave in a manner that just comes across more kind, makes you more relatable, and then people don't want to be negative around you. Number 5 is people, believe it or not, that are grateful sleep better. Now, I know you might be thinking, really? But truly, you guys, writing in a gratitude journal right before you go to sleep is one of the best things you can do. They say set aside 10 to 15 minutes on your phone or your clock or whatever you've got, and just sit there. Now, you can start with some really basic stuff like, I'm grateful for my house, I'm grateful for my bed, I'm grateful that I have an adorable cat, I'm grateful for my family, I'm grateful for the weather, I'm grateful that I'm driving a Mary Kay car. Like, you could do that. But what I want to challenge you is, what if you went the next layer down? What if you started thinking about things that you maybe are not as obvious? Like, I'm very grateful that when my daughter was in 2nd grade, I volunteered on a specific week to be the room mom to help with crafts because I met a woman named Teresa who has become one of my very best friends for decades. Our daughters don't really do anything together anymore. They've kind of gone their own way, and they're not close at all, but she's one of my very best friends. And so you have to say, I'm grateful that week I chose to be the room mom because look who I met. I actually also was reading an article on gratitude, and one of the things that people did is they wrote in unusual letters about gratitude that didn't seem obvious. One lady wrote a gratitude letter to her dog. Now, that might sound a little strange, but she was thanking her dog because she got her dog, and then just a couple years after that, her husband got sick and passed away very suddenly. And that dog became her security, her comfort, everything. They went everywhere together. They traveled together. She even took him on a plane ride. Like, that dog became her best friend. And so her letter of gratitude was to the dog, saying, thank you for just being you. So I want you guys just to kind of be thinking about that gratitude because it really does help you sleep better. Also, if you have issues turning your brain off at night before you go to bed, like you're laying in bed and you're thinking, okay, did I send my hostess those packets? And I've got to call, a bunch of customers tomorrow because PCP catalog went out. And what about Father's Day? Who should I be calling for tomorrow? And all of a sudden your brain, you almost want to take your batteries out, right? And maybe none of you ever do that. But if you do, or it's not even Mary Kay, it could be, I got to finish paying all the bills. How am I going to pay the bills? My son is struggling because I'm distance learning and he maybe has a learning disability, or my daughter is having this issue, or my husband is doing, it's like our brains sometimes want to solve the world while we're trying to sleep. So doing a gratitude journal for just 10 to 15 minutes before going to bed, just jot down some grateful sentiments before you go to bed. I promise you will sleep better and longer. Now, number 6, gratitude also improves your self-esteem. So there was actually a study done in the Journal of Applied Sports Psychology, and they found that gratitude increased athletes' self-esteem, which obviously allowed them to have optimal performance. And it says people who have more money or better jobs, sometimes rather than becoming resentful toward those people with more money or better jobs, a major factor in reducing self-esteem, grateful people are able to appreciate other people's accomplishments. Like, I'm glad that Steve Jobs' family has so much money because look what he did to the dot-com industry. Look what he created. All of those things. Number 7, gratitude increases mental strength. Now, this one I think is really important because not only does gratitude reduce stress, but it plays a major role in overcoming trauma, things that are post-traumatic stress disorder, all kinds of things that can really, really kind of take the wind out of our sails mentally, okay? So those are just all great things to just be aware of. Now, I want to share with you a couple quick quotes. I came across these quotes last night when I was thinking about what to share with you guys, and there's 3 different quotes I'm going to share. The first one that says, gratitude can transform common days into Thanksgiving. Turn routine jobs, and I'll say this twice, routine jobs into joy, and change ordinary opportunities into blessings. And that's a proverb. I'll say it again. Gratitude can transform common days into Thanksgiving, turn routine jobs into joy, and change ordinary opportunities into blessings. The other quote that I absolutely love is very short. It says, it is not happiness that brings us gratitude. It is gratitude that brings us happiness. I'll say that again. It is not happiness that brings us gratitude. It's gratitude that brings us happiness. And the last quote, which I thought was brilliant, by Robert Brault, it says, enjoy the little things, for one day you may look back and realize they were the big things. So often we take we just take for granted things. We take for granted maybe somebody who's you want to spend quality time with, but you're both so busy. You might be taking for granted all kinds of things. So just realize that sometimes things, you need to kind of maybe sometimes stop and smell the roses, right? And then the last thing I wanted to share with you is just a little bit about setting some goals. So now some of you guys have already got goals for June 30th. You know exactly where you want to cross the finish line. But let's say you're listening to this call and you don't personally have a goal. Maybe you finished your star. Maybe you're pretty new in Mary Kay. And maybe it's kind of like, yeah, well, I wanted to be able to, be star for next quarter. Well, if you didn't finish your star this quarter, absolutely make sure you have at least 600 or more in by the end of the quarter so you never miss a star again. And if you have anything for men, charcoal mask, men's fragrance, men's skincare, get it out, put it in a basket, go visit 3 people tomorrow, and I promise you'll sell a bunch of stuff for Father's Day. But I do want to share with you guys one other thing, and it's a quote that I heard from Diane Sumter, who's a national sales director, and she said that sometimes people will want to be part of your fire because they have no fire. And so I want you guys just to think about that for a second. What if you had somebody in your life who might be saying, well, I'm not really interested in Mary Kay right now, or I don't think I want to sell Mary Kay, but they don't have anything they're working on. There's nothing going on in their life that brings them joy. There's nothing that they're doing that is really, they're not part of a culture. They're not, do you know what I'm saying? They're just not, they don't have that part going on in their life. And so with that said, what if your spark, your fire, your dream, your desire, your energy, they just want to be part of that. Sometimes people want to march in your parade and jump on your float because they don't have a float or a parade to even go to, let alone start their own. And there's nothing wrong with somebody being a part of your win. That's what this company is all about. Mary Kay used to say to us, pass it on, pass it on, pass it on. She doesn't want us to keep this opportunity or the product to ourselves. We're supposed to share it. That's the whole point. So I just want you guys to know how important gratitude is. And you're going to have days this month, like you do every month, where you're going to feel like on top of the world, on fire, you're doing great, everything's going fabulous, nothing could possibly go any other direction. And then there's other days where you're like, really? Like, I cannot believe that went wrong too. And so rather than focus on that, remember, when the teeter-totter, when you are in the air, that means gratitude is high, faith is strong, you're good to go. But when you feel that teeter-totter falter and you go down and that other side goes up, when you're down on the ground and you're at the bottom of the teeter-totter, that means you are in anxiety mode. Your faith is not a priority. You're worrying about things that you most of the time have absolutely no control over. So just remember, when faith and gratitude are high, everything else will come from that. All right, you guys, thanks for calling in. Have an amazing Wednesday. And it's the start of a brand new quarter, so go make it amazing. Talk to you soon. Bye.